Excellent. Yes. There, we did it right this time. Cool. So, look at this. So, New York Toy Fair happened over the last week. And there's been a lot of reveals, a lot of new toy lines announced, a lot of cool stuff, right? I'm not going to go through everything because it's literally, I could just do a whole show on just what everything happened at Toy Fair, but I'm just picking a couple of bits that I think are worth talking about. Some of you 80s ladies and gentlemen out there might appreciate. And one of these is mask. Now, let me see if I can remember what this anagram is. Or acronym, whatever the hell the word is. Is it Mobile Armored Strike Command? I think that's what it is. I think that's what mask is. But anyway, so this was a 80s, early 80s, mid 80s cartoon. Epic theme song. Don't believe me, go YouTube it. Check the theme song, check the intro. It's one of those awesome things from the 80s cartoons that always had. They're just not the same anymore. Most shows these days and cartoons don't have any kind of cool shit like that. So Mask, it's they're not Transformers, but they're vehicles that turn into things, like a car into a flying car, or whatever. A motorcycle that converts to a helicopter, right? Stuff like that. Or a truck that turns into a kind of mobile base, Yeah, Transformers can do that too, but this is very different. They don't turn into sentient robots or anything like that. But how cool is this? Like I've been saying for a while, like we've had this resurgence of nostalgia from the 80s going on forever, it seems, and all the major properties from the 80s are back. But I kept saying to myself, like, where the hell is Mask? Like Mask was a big deal back in the day. And I remember it even as a kid. Like it wasn't my thing, but I remember it. And for those of you who don't remember, the drivers or pilots of these vehicles, they all had masks, right? And they had special abilities in every mask that was individual to them. And that was the gimmick. Like the mask would connect them to the vehicle and it'd have special abilities and unlock things and that kind of stuff. So anyway, so this is done by the Loyal Subjects. They're a toy manufacturer, a toy developer. Well, they've revealed officially Mask, the retro line. So they're not redoing like a modernization of Mask. They're literally taking the models from the 80s and remaking them right as they were. They've made some improvements on the figures, right? There's still limited articulation. So that, let me just show some photos here so you get the idea, right? Mask. You audio listeners, you're missing out on this altogether. But so the figures here, I don't know why, but the arms are missing elbow articulation, but there's knee articulation, shoulder, hip articulation, neck articulation, right? I guess to keep their arms stiff so they're driving, or I don't know. It just seems a bit silly. But the 80s ones were worse. They didn't have that much articulation at all, if you remember some of the old G.I. Joe figures. So yeah, you got the big truck there, the iconic, that's the one on the logo, right? See if I can go back up and see if I can tell you the actual details. Sorry, I know I'm all over the place. I keep listening to the roof. So yeah, it's a new molding, but they're respecting the originals, like mirrors and chrome, all that kind of stuff. New molds created from scratch. So John Warden, he's there as a consultant at the Loyal Subjects. So John Warden was with Hasbro for like 20 years or something, right? 15 to 25 years. I can't remember how long, but so John Warden's behind all the famous, popular, recent memory, modern Transformers toy lines, right? Outside of, Armada and Cybertron and all that kind of stuff. But, he'll Siege War for Cybertron, all that kind of stuff. That 2019 toy line that just got me hooked, and that's everything that you can see behind me. So he's moved over there now, and he was with Power Rangers for a little bit, but then he got laid off when Hasbro were doing all their cuts. So now he's with them. The Loyal Subjects doing Mask, which is awesome. I mean, if this goes off, he'll do an amazing job with this toy line. The price point is collector base at $100, and cheaper, full of wave. So I think the biggest one is the truck at $100, and this is American. So it's based on size. Wave 2 is not confirmed yet. Just depends on how well Wave 1 does. And you can go pre-order it wherever, like Big Bad Toy Store and Entertainment Earth and retailers later. Crossovers were discussed, but it's too early to say. So your crossovers like G.I. Joe and Transformers and stuff, right? But it's too early to say. Just see how well it does. But yeah, this is a massive nostalgia trip for those of you who really enjoy Mask. Don't ask me to recite every name of every character and vehicle on here. Like, as I said, Mask wasn't my thing, but I do appreciate it for what it is. I think this is awesome, right? If I wasn't already chock-a-block with my own collection and my own Transformers wall, and I've got my Motu over there, my Hasbro Marvel Legends, and my McFarlane DC stuff, right? If I wasn't so chock-a-block with all that stuff, like, I'd probably go in on this. I think Mask is awesome. It's just so cool, so 80s. I mean, look at that. A flying car, hell yeah. It's got some blast effects and missiles, and this truck is awesome. It's like the other big truck from the 80s, right? Optimus Prime being the other, obviously, if I need to paint that out. Cool. Anyway, let me just go through. So yeah, this I can't remember what this thing turns into, but it looks awesome anyway. So yeah, epic stuff. I know my older brother James Mask was his thing, and I told him about this, and he seemed a bit excited. So you can see their masks on the ground there. Oh man, nostalgia is real. Anyway, so I thought this was awesome. I just wanted to share. So you can see that this is the prototype. These are all prototypes, so not finished, right? But you can see maybe like in the elbows there's no articulation. Maybe there will be down the line, closer to launch. But this gives you a bit of an idea of what the little figures look like. They look like they're going to be tiny, like the G.I. Joe 3.5 or 3.25 inch, whatever, toy lines that used to be, which makes sense. There's another guy there. He looks kind of cool. He's the guy that goes on the motorbike, turns into a helicopter, because of course. Yeah, really cool stuff. This guy is the big old man in the big ship, so of course he is. Really, really cool stuff. There's something else down here I just wanted to go on just quickly. It's a bit more nostalgia bait. I think it's on this one. Yeah, look. My Pet Monster. I don't know if you guys remember that, but man, they're bringing My Pet Monster back. Never had one of these as a kid. And yes, I'll probably see to rectifying that and provide my inner child a My Pet Monster. For those who don't know what this is, go YouTube it. It had a live action movie. I remember watching that a lot as a kid and watching the cartoon series. So that's cool, seeing that come back. Not much else on there that I want to talk about, but the next one is, oh my God. So they're doing this epic Motu cross Thundercats toy line. My God. Okay, so again, this is another one where I don't think I can get away with throwing down the coin on this. I don't think my wife would approve. Kind of made a deal for the new year that I won't start another toy line. And it sounds like I'm an addict and I've got a problem. And I do, and I am. But plastic crack, mate, it's a powerful thing. But I said, no, look, I'm not going to start any more new lines. I've kind of got what I want, right? I've got my Motu, like I just said. I've got my Marvel and X-Men figures and Avengers, and I've got my DC like Pantheon of figures over there on the display, and I've got other stuff around here, massive Transformers and whatever else, right? Got some Dragon Ball over there. I got rid of all my Power Ranger stuff except one figure. I've got some Morphers, but anyway. So what this is, it's a crossover, obviously, with Master of the Universe and Thundercats. I remember growing up and always saying, "Man, why didn't they cross over?" Right? That they're essentially the same thing, except just different skins, right? Instead of the Sword of Power, you've got the Sword of Thundera, right? Sword of Omens, and vice versa. Like, just go out from there. You've got Grey Skull, you've got the Thundercat lair. It's just the 80s. It was all that. I love that stuff, right? If I ever have a position to make my own franchise like that, I will make something with an epic sword, with an epic hero, with an epic team, and an epic castle lair thing and do that. I'd love to do that. Love to do that. It'd be so cool. I love that stuff, man. I've got the 2021 Castle Grayskull from the CGI Netflix series. That Grayskull is awesome. Lights and sounds and an automated drawbridge and all that kind of stuff. It's so cool. So anyway, about this. So we'll have a look. So we'll skip some of the initial He-Man stuff and just get straight to the crossover bits area. I mean, look at that Skeletor cross Mumra up there, right? And this toy line, the way they're doing it is they're providing you with swap out pieces, right? And this is what's getting me. Where I've been saying, how, man, wouldn't it be cool if they made some affordable Thundercat toys like they're doing with the Motu Origins stuff, right? This is what this looks like, where they're giving you the option where this is a crossover, but you've got swap out pieces. So if you just wanted the Thundercats, you could swap the pieces out and they'll just look like their Thundercat self, right? So you can take the shoulder piece off, the swap out headpiece, right? You can swap his loincloth and all that kind of stuff, and he'll just look like Lino. And he's got the gauntlet, the pull gauntlet, right? There's a He-Man here where it looks like, so you got this chest piece. It's like the Eternia playset with a panther head on it, right? And they've given Lino the same kind of Eternian armor looking thing. Like, it's so cool. Oh, I love this stuff, man. So you can take all these pieces off and he'll just be like a normal He-Man, right? And they've given him an actual cooler haircut than just the Karen haircut of the 80s that they keep giving him over the years. It looks a lot cooler there, man. This is a cool He-Man figure. Very, very tempted. But you got Panthro, right? So he's got some Man-at-Arms type of armor on him, right? But you can swap these pieces out. Take the shin armor off, the headpiece off there, the shoulder piece and all that kind of stuff, and he'll just look like Panthro. Same thing. This is so cool. This is Cringer, right? Or Battlecat as a Thundercat. How cool is that, man? I want it. I want it, man. I don't know how much these figures are, but damn. You know, it's really getting to the point where, oh God, like, have I just signed up for it and I don't know it yet? Like, do I need to go through a period of acceptance, right? Do I need to have this conversation with my wife? You know? How cool is this? Oh, man. So, okay, so this is the Skeletor / Mumra figure, right? You can, if you go look, right, if you just look at the characters, if you go look, Mumra's cape is a different color, but the inside is Skeletor's color, and vice versa, right? So they've worked that into the figure here. So you can swap that cape around. You can take it off, swap it around, and it'll look like Mumra's cape from the inside, right? And you can take his head off and other pieces, and it'll turn into Mumra. And Skeletor and Mumra just happen to have the same skin color, right? How awesome is this? You know, it just, oh man, I want it. I mean, look at this, man. How cool is it? I mean, this is a big figure, right? Oh God, like, I sound like I've already signed up for it and I just have to accept it, right? You can swap out all the Skeletor pieces and put the Mumra bits on there, and oh boy. I mean, look at that. That's cool. I don't think this armor is finished. It looks like it's still prototype stuff because it's all uncolored, or is that, maybe that's just what it looks like. But it looks like it's unfinished. But this is Tiger, I believe. Oh man, like, even just to get Chitara, right? So these are perfect shots. So you can see you can swap out the hair. So you take out the headpiece top, right, with the crown and the hair slicked back. You can put the more wild hair on there, and these look like the different shins that you can swap out, right? And it'll look more like a traditional Chitara. So where's Snarf? I don't know, but this whole toy line, holy mackerel, right? Jesus. I don't know if I can get away with this, right? Do I just order it and go, oh, whoops, I forgot to tell you. Oh, God. I'm sorry, but to me, this is the coolest thing at Toy Fair that was revealed. I've heard about this and I've seen bits and pieces of this prior to the lead up to Toy Fair, but seeing all the footage and the images about these figures just blew me away. The Thundercats are rad, man. And it's just the perfect mix where I don't want another Motu collection because I've already got one based on the CG Netflix series, which is awesome, by the way. But to be able to dabble a bit into Thundercats and maybe they'll do their own Thundercat lair in this style. I don't know, but oh boy. All right, I'll move on. So a bit of negative news here. It is what it is. Look, so I never collected DC figures, right? As a proper hobby, going out of my way. I had like one Superman figure some years ago now. Until Todd McFarlane picked up the license for DC to make a toy line called DC Multiverse. Prior to that, Mattel had their own DC Multiverse line. And I didn't pick that up either because I just didn't like the look of the figures and their articulation was a bit limited, right? But people love that stuff. Like over the 90s and 2000s, like there were DC collectors that had their own Mattel DC Multiverse collection, right? And it just didn't get me until this toy line came out and the articulation was all there. The first wave was really rough. I didn't buy into the first wave. I thought, oh, okay, it looked like crap, so I didn't buy into it, right? But a couple of waves later, I was like, oh damn, this actually looks really good now. And the amount of stuff that McFarlane Toys pumps out every year, just pumps it out like crazy, man. Where now I've got a whole display here where I've tried to convert a Barbie dream house and I've repainted it, converting it into like a Hall of Justice looking thing, right? I've still yet to finish it. I've got bits and pieces behind me here to fixate onto this thing to make it look super cool and to put some cardboard inserts in there so it looks like more like the Hall of Justice display screens and stuff like that. Trust me, it looks cool. It looks cooler than I'm making it sound, I think anyway. But yeah, I've got a whole DC display there now. I've never had that in my life. But this toy line, it was affordable. It was cheaper than Marvel Legends. And they're bigger, 7-inch figures, not 6-inch like Marvel Legends. And they just look awesome. Look, I can't say enough good stuff about it. Anyway, to hear that there was a bidding war between whatever toy companies, and Mattel won out. They paid more essentially and won the license back. So that means Todd McFarlane no longer have the license to make this toy line anymore. So this year is going to be the last year. So he said, it is what it is. That's business. He wasn't prepared to pay more than what he already is for it. And looks like other companies weren't either. But Mattel being Mattel, the big dog, right, they came in and just waved their wallet around. There, here you go. They've got the license back. Because they probably saw how well this line was doing, right? And with the new DC Universe movies coming out, perfect timing to regain license. So anyway, look, I'm disappointed. I'm not going to invest anymore. Like this new Mattel line, whenever they do anything, I'm not going to, like it is what it is. I've done my dash. I've got my DC set up here. It's fine. I don't think they'll do the 7-inch route either. I think they'll go back to a 6-inch route to compete with Marvel Legends. But anyway, I just thought it was a bit disappointing for those of you who might be collecting some DC Multiverse figures out there. Enjoy 2025 as the last year. Mattel gets it back in 2026, and then who knows how long it's going to take before they get any product out anyway, because it takes quite a while to get a toy line together and molds perfected and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, if you do collect this kind of stuff, just let me know and tell me what figures you've got or if this bums you out, whatever. Personally, I'm disappointed because there's some figures like so Todd McFarlane did really obscure characters, right? And that was one of the appeals, right? Because you can have some confidence in saying that you might get a really obscure DC character that other companies might not do, right? Mattel won't do that, I don't think. Other toy companies won't do that unless it's, I don't know, whatever, one of those freak in a pan kind of things that, well, it's a meme or something. They might put a figure out that might actually sell. But like I want an Aztec figure right? And I was hoping and looking forward to McFarlane doing an Aztec figure. I've almost got all the Green Lantern figures that that I think they would bother to put out. Simon Baz just got that. Guy Gardner's on his way. I don't think we're going to get a Jessica Cruz before Todd McFarlane loses the license, right? Otherwise, I've got the vast majority of the Earth-based Green Lanterns and a couple other alien ones as well for my Green Lantern setup. But I mean, we've got a Mr. Terrific, which is awesome. A bloody Commander Steel figure. Who the hell would ever think that? There's the villain, like Clockwork. What's his name? Clock something. Oh god, I can't remember his name. I just like Ambush Bug, man. I got an Ambush Bug figure. Ambush Bug. It's another obscure. I mean, Spectre. I got a Spectre figurine. Oh bloody! There's a Green Lantern villain called oh god, I'm just looking at him. Oh, what's his name? Oh my god, just drawing a blank. No, I've lost the name, but it's a super obscure Green Lantern figure. That it's that obscure I can't even remember his name. He's fire based, like he can create fire based constructs instead of light based, and he looks like the Joker here, and he's got a big red flamey body and all this kind of stuff. Real wild, like out there kind of character that nobody heard about that character until the listing came out. And Effigy, that's his name, Effigy, and people were like, holy crap, we got an Effigy figure, before some other like Justice League International characters or whatever. You're like, so he wasn't afraid to put out some obscure characters, which, I don't think Mattel's going to do. They're going to just stick to your standard Justice League figures, your standard DC characters that are popular and that are known, right? Whatever the TV shows and the movies are doing, you'll have those, right? So it's just disappointing to just set that all the way back to zero again. And I mean, he was pumping out Batmobiles as well, like big Batmobiles that could fit a 7-inch figure in, right? You rarely ever get vehicles these days from toy manufacturers because they're expensive. But Todd McFarlane Toys, find a way to do it, right? It's crazy. I'm disappointed, but I mean, my bank account's going to be happy, and so is my wife. But look, anyway, I sort of want to put this in here because, look, it is what it is. It's literally a first world problem. I know that, but as a collector, it's like, oh man, okay, I guess that's it. Yeah, that's it. That's the end of my collecting for that line. So anyway, there's a whole bunch of stuff coming up between now and the end of this year. And Todd McFarlane's gone on record saying like there's still heaps of stuff to come. We've seen some of the leaked listings and pretty hyped on some of that stuff that's coming out. So I've still got some on my list to pick up. So anyway, one more thing, and then I'll wrap it up. So I thought this was going to be a short one, but it's not. Back to Power Rangers, right? I just really need to talk about this because this is really bad. Really bad. And I get it. They're going for a certain audience, right? Playmates, right? Playmates toys are always cheap, right? Always. At least in my experience. The last kind of things that I've bought, the last figures I bought from Playmates were some Ninja Turtles. The little figures felt really good, right? For the main 4 turtles. But the pack that I bought came with a Shredder and a Splinter, and they are just terrible. Terrible, right? And I got the 80s reissue of the Turtle Van. Look, it's good, right? But all the little accessories that you put on, like the side view mirrors and the turrets, man, the plastic is just shocking. Shocking. Like I don't know, it's made out of Play-Doh or something. It's so soft and it can't hold a straight stance. And it just feels really cheap. So yeah, that was disappointing. And it's hollow. The interior's got no detail on it. And I was like, wow, okay. Like I know it was just like the 80s, right? But come on. Like this is 2022, 23 when they reissued that thing. Come on. Anyway. But yeah, look, I've had some other Playmates toys over the years and they've just been really cheap. So lo and behold, we've got Power Rangers going to the lowest bidder. Like Hasbro have just gone, hey, who wants it? And Playmates is like, we'll do it. So what they're going to do is, this is the toy line that they're doing. That's essentially, they're calling it Reignition, right? So it's going back to the 90s and they're making the toys like they were made in the 90s. And to me, that's a bad idea because the toys in the 90s were crap, right? I loved them as a kid. I'm not going to lie. But even as a kid, I could tell like these were a bit crap, right? But I love them just the same. And maybe that's what they're relying on, right? The kids today, which is what they're saying here. Only 10% of the product offering for this new Power Rangers line is considered collector driven, as the goal of both Playmates and brand owner Hasbro is trying to gain a new generation of children's attention and grow the brand from there. Right? Kids are smart today, man. If you put a toy in their hands and it's already a crap toy, they will be able to tell. They will tell that it's crap, right? And if they can't have fun with it, if they don't feel like it's worth having fun with, they won't. They won't like it, right? So anyway, and they've also got the ability to do more Power Rangers toys outside of Mighty Morphin, but they're not going to do that yet. They got no plans for that. It's just Mighty Morphin again, all right? Which is fine, I guess. All right, because Mighty Morphin is the one that took over the world. All right, I get it. It's the more popular one, and I love Mighty Morphin. I'm not complaining, but there are other epic seasons besides Mighty Morphin. So let's just look at some of these, how crap they are. Right? So they're doing the head flip action thing again. Like who actually really likes this unless you want it as like a fidget spinner thing, right? The one thing that they got right with this Green Ranger one is that you don't have to take the shield off to do the head flip, right? Back in the 90s, you had to take the shield off to flip the head. Right, so that's one thing that they're doing good already just off this, but they look big and bulky and I don't like them. I'll never get that. Never. So look, you can see them all there. Looks a bit cheap. Some of the villains look okay, like King Sphinx back there looks awesome. I'm actually surprised that there's that many villains that they're investing in. And Playmates are good at that. Playmates will pump out the turtle figures. Pump them out, right? And all the villains and side characters and whatever else, even the obscure ones. So when I was talking about obscure characters, Playmates is good at doing that. But look, these are big and chunky because they've got to fit the mechanism inside and they look bloated and stuff like that. Real cheap. I mean, you can see the sword there. It's kind of drooping. Anyway, look, it's clearly not for me. I'm obviously not the target audience. It's fine. But obviously I don't know who's going to buy these unless you're a diehard 90s toy fan. But I mean, oh man, she looks horrifying. Look at that face. Yeah. Anyway, packaging looks cool. I mean, the villains are what they are. Some limited articulation. I mean, that's kind of cool. I mean, Lightning Collection did that too. Lightning Collection was putting out some unique sculpts from Hasbro, and that was a collector-focused line. Unique sculpts are expensive to do, right? Because you can't just reuse them. So that's the problem, is why you won't see too many unique sculpts coming out. So it's good to see that they're doing that already, putting some out. I mean, she looks just terrible. My God. And like all the weapons are thick as hell. Like you can barely, like how do you get your hand around that? That's what she said. So anyway, some of the gold art looks pretty cool. And the putties look solid. The putties look good. All right. I'll give them that. King Sphinx looks good. Anyway, but now we move in the battle bikes. So I was going off about the battle bikes in the Power Rangers game before, but this is a gimmick that's kind of fun for a couple of seconds, then you're over it. Right, so they've got this god-awful, ugly armor that they've got a vest on the action figure. Now, these figures are bigger than the figures that I just showed you. So it's a different sculpt again, right? And the bike, so if you just wanted the bike to display, right, or to put your other normal figures on, you can't because they're bigger. The bikes are too big to put the other figures on, right? And you've got this awful, like, stick kind of device mechanism thing sticking out of the side of the bike as well, that when you push a button it flips the figure off the front of the bike, so so you can do a front flip or whatever to hit another enemy figure, right? And like I get it, right, the play factor's there, but my God, what about the reuse? What if you wanted to not use that feature? Can you take that bar out of the side? Can you take it out? Right, and just have your Power Ranger sitting on the bike. Like I know I sound like a disgruntled fanboy, but it's just, come on. Like if I was Playmates, like I get it, right? The play factor, aiming towards kids, I get it, right? But I wouldn't like this. When I was a kid, I didn't like this. I had the Black Ranger's motorbike with the side cart. I love that thing, man. It didn't have any gimmick. It was just that. Just the bike and the side cart. You could put your Black Ranger figure on it and whoever else in the side cart. And that was all I had. And it was awesome. I loved it. I didn't need a stupid gimmick. So, yeah, look at it. It's just ugly, right? What if you were trying to invest into the children market and they got their battle bike when they're younger and they grow up to be someone like me or in my age bracket where they've kept their 90s figures, right? That's not me anymore. I lost them many years ago, but I know people that still have their 90s collection, right? I just wouldn't keep that. Right? I would try and find something else. Anyway, so these are some other figures. They're more higher priced ones, but they're still in the budget bracket, as you can tell. Barely any paint, limited articulation. They just look bad in comparison to Hasbro's Lightning Collection stuff. I will not be getting any of these. I will not be investing in this toy line at all. And if they're not doing any collector focused stuff, I'm just not going to buy it. I'm zero interest in this. And I was very disappointed. The Megazord looks okay. This Megazord has some lights and sounds in it. I don't know if you can disassemble this Megazord if it's got lights and sounds in it. But there's another one it shows you here. This is where all the pieces are apart. You can buy the Zords individually, which I don't know about you, right? At least when Hasbro had this license, they would package the smaller Zords together. So you buy two in a pack. This one, you buy them all individually, right? Now that adds up really quick. And they're not the best either, right? They're not the best looking thing. But I don't know about you, but I'd feel a bit crappy having to buy a pterodactyl Zord on its own. You know, like there's not much going on with it. You know, and these look cheap as. They look really bad. I mean, the 90s one didn't look much better, but this isn't the 90s anymore. Like, you can do more with it. They've gotten rid of the actual tip of the gun, right? The cannon on the back of the saber-toothed tiger there. They've gotten rid of the nozzle for the cannon and replaced it with a blast effect, right? So when you see and the same thing with the Triceratops, the blue thing there, that's normally just fixated to the weapon. It's part of the weapon, part of the cannon, right? But for some reason, it's now a separate piece that can shoot out. I mean, that pterodactyl Zord looks like it does, right? But there's not much going on with it, right? So I feel really bad having to pay the same price as the other saber-tooth tiger and Triceratops Zords, right? Look at that. Oh, boy. I think each pack comes with one of these figures as well, so that's kind of okay. But so look, what I'm getting at is you can see the gap on top of the Triceratops and the saber-tooth tiger Zord. That just looks bad. That looks really bad. I mean, that formation is correct and on point, but my God. And you can see it there with the Megazord at the back there. There's these gaps in the shins where they're usually filled in with the cannons. Anyway, look, the Zord itself looks like it's about to fall over. I hope they fix it before they release it. See, I've been in the market to. I mean, that actually looks pretty damn cool, like that. That looks actually kind of cool. Depends if the knees bend. I don't know how articulated this thing is, but that actually looks okay. Kind of eating my words at the moment here, but it's not the best one, but it looks better than Hasbro's one they did. Not going to lie. At least the sword is filled in and it's not full of gaps, and it's got paint on it, which is good. The Mastodon Zord, it is what it is. Now this looks like a good Tyrannosaurus Zord. There's some paint apps that are missing if you want it to be screen accurate, but I've been in the market to get just a red Tyrannosaurus Rex Zord just for my display to put in my Red Ranger, because I don't want to. I've got a Jason Lee Scott display where I've got the Gold Ranger from Hasbro and the Red Ranger figure from Hasbro. I've got them all for, I've got the Zeo staff, but I'm looking for just the Zords for those guys, right? Just to have that Jason display, right? So looking for a Tyrannosaurus Zord to put there, and one day, hopefully I'll be able to get a Pyramidas back in my life. But this one looks like it might be good on its own as a display item, a display piece, and cheap. I don't want to spend a lot of money on it. So they've probably got me for that at least. Oh my God, my alarm's going off. So that's that time already. So yeah, look, and they've got these cheap masks, you know, Halloween masks. People thought they were actual full-on helmets, that they were going to do helmets like Hasbro did. But this morpher, my God, it looks cheap as. It looks really boxy. I know it's for kids, I get it. But when you look at what Hasbro did and you look at what Bandai did back in the day, it was die-cast metal, lights and sounds. Hasbro, you know, at least it's got metal coins in it. It's got lights and sounds, and it can detect the different coin and stuff like that. And it's screen accurate, like sizing and everything like that. It looks awesome. Whereas this one looks like it's big and chunky. Maybe that'll work for me as an adult. Maybe it's like an adult size morpher. But anyway, the coins are plastic. They're not metal. It can do the whole thing where you put the coin in, it'll detect the coin for each individual ranger and stuff like that. That's cool. I get it, right? But it just looks very cheap. I'm pretty disappointed about that because I was looking for a second morpher to take to like Comic-Con or whatever, or just to muck around with so I don't have to muck around and waste the batteries or wear out my current Hasbro Lightning Collection morpher. Anyway, so this isn't it. This isn't going to be the one. But they've got other cool stuff, like they've got the Power Blaster and the Dragon Dagger, and they've got lights and sounds in them. The Dragon Dagger comes with its own Green Ranger coin, which will work in the other morpher, but Tommy had a gold morpher, right? So will he get his own? What will they just release the Green Ranger morpher as it's meant to be? That flute actually looks quite good. The Dragon Flute, Dragon Dagger actually looks quite good, not going to lie. And that blaster looks pretty legit too. But anyway, look, it is what it is. It's clearly not for me. They said that at the start. It's meant for kids. We've had our time. Power Rangers was wasted with Hasbro. Hasbro wasted that property. A lot of mistakes were made. I can't believe it, man. Power Rangers is one of the most recognizable brands on the planet, and you squandered it, right? Anyway, yeah, cool. Anyway, there was a Transformers stuff there, but I'm not getting into Transformers because I think I've spoken enough here. I'm losing my voice, and I've just heard some thunder, and I'm paranoid that I'm going to lose power. So the rain is still going. So I'm going to wrap it up here and call it a day, and let's just do that, huh? Yeah.